So Chuck Schumer is officially now working with Republican lawmakers in Congress to deliver some financial relief to the American people, everybody, and everybody that needs stimulus payments. So we have a ton of news to go over about this fourth stimulus payment, so you want to continue watching this video to find out the most important news on this. Chuck Schumer, everybody, and is working with Republican Mitt Romney and other Republicans to pay for new crisis relief funding after it was dropped from a massive government spending bill earlier this month. Schumer told reporters, "We are trying to get crisis relief, and I'm working with Senator Romney and other Republicans in good faith to find some pay-fors that are acceptable to Democrats and Republicans in the House and the Senate. We hope to get it done, and this is really wonderful news." The leaders in Congress initially agreed to include in a massive government funding bill roughly $15 billion in response to the Biden administration's request for new funding for stimulus checks and crisis relief assistance. The funds would have been paid for with some of the money coming from shifting around funding allocated for state and local governments as part of the previous crisis relief bills. But the money was stripped out of the bill amid pushback from House Democrats from states that would have seen funds reprogrammed. The roadblocks sparked fierce pushback from Biden administration officials, as well as frustration from Nancy Pelosi. With the path forward for getting stimulus relief bills, everybody, through the House and Senate looks unclear. To get a bill through the Senate Democrats, it would need help from at least 10 GOP senators. And McConnell has said that any new crisis relief aid in response to the administration's request needs to come from previously approved crisis relief legislation. Mitch McConnell actually told reporters there's plenty of unspent money. It's a question of priorities. The money is there and it should be reprogrammed. That's the way we have to move forward. But Schumer, everybody, is certain that the bill will pass very soon. He said this being bipartisan has a good chance of passing and therefore has his entire support. Over the next few weeks, those offices will work on getting the bill finalized, and they intend to put that bill on the floor as soon as possible. But we all know that the nation has spent the majority of its available crisis rescue funding. Billions of dollars across a handful of categories have not gone out the door. Beginning under the former president and continuing through Biden's administration, Congress has approved some $4.5 trillion in total aid spending. According to Treasury Department data, federal agencies have formally committed to using about $4 trillion of that. That's $4 trillion, everybody, and have made $3.5 trillion in actual payments to date. Now, it can often take time for the total pot of funds to make its way to the people. Budget experts say that. And that's because the government agencies, Department of Labor, and the Small Business Administration go through a process of legally committing to a portion of allotted funding, which is known as obligating, and they then start to actually spend it. The $500 billion or so in available resources have not been obligated and may not end up being spent by the agencies. There are also deadlines for making these commitments, and they could span several years. The details also vary by program. Funds that are not eventually obligated are returned for other government uses. So, everybody, it only makes more sense for President Biden to send out more stimulus checks. If you guys agree with me, tell me in the comments down below.
And by the way, there are a lot of jobs coming to people that you're going to need to train up people, thanks to the bipartisan infrastructure bill. Everybody knew, and you heard from my secretary a little bit earlier, America is falling behind in infrastructure. We used to be #1 in the world. We're now #8. But now, not only has Infrastructure Week finally arrived, we're talking about infrastructure decade, not week. Folks, we've already authorized 4,000 projects all across the country, including 1,500 bridges in disrepair, and they're starting this year, not later, this year. And the law is going to create millions of jobs, rebuilding Americans' roads, bridges, highways, ports, and airports, getting rid of poisonous lead pipes, and 10 million homes and 400,000 schools so kids and families can have clean drinking water. Folks, we're investing $65 billion to deliver high-speed internet everywhere in America. Urban, rural, suburban, tribal communities. We can't be a country where a mother has to take her kid to the McDonald's parking lot to do their homework over the internet. This is the United States of America, for God's sake. And folks, the law is going to put an end to that, obviously, and it's only the beginning. Hundreds of billions of new investments are on the way. Today, Secretary Buttigieg announced $409 million in new grants, 70 new projects, 39 states, just the beginning. Electric buses to make bus service safer, more reliable, environmentally sound. Helping folks in big cities, small towns get to work and get to school. Projects like a new $15 million bus maintenance facility serving Atlanta. $5 million to buy cleaner, more reliable hydrogen fuel cells for buses. Replacing old diesel engines in southern Nevada. And so much more. It's now time for cities and towns to get ready. You don't have to wait until these infrastructure projects start. You're going to need more welders, pipe fitters, advanced manufacturers. And it takes training to get the job done well. And that's why all these programs, these apprenticeship programs, union programs. And by the way, when people talk about an apprenticeship program, we're talking like going to 4 years.
Yes, now millions of people are eligible to claim an extra round of stimulus payments. This is due to President Biden's legislative agenda that could be approved in the coming days. Everybody get ready because President Biden might be ready to send out more stimulus payments. So here's some big news. It's that President Biden has said that Congress is very close to finally reaching a deal on the Build Back Better legislation. Joe Biden has continued to tout his entire Build Back Better package as he travels across the nation. And the Congressional Progressive Caucus, which is a group made of lawmakers in Congress, is now pressuring President Biden and the Senate Democrats to pass his signature very, very soon. And Democratic Representative Pramila Jayapal, who chairs the caucus, said in a statement that the spending package has only become more urgent, and negotiations of the bill have stalled, but Jayapal told reporters, public housing. Residents have endured devastating fires, and the cost of insulin and other prescription continue to crush working people. We only see the need for more stimulus payments increase, folks, and that's the fact. But soaring inflation has become a political problem for President Biden, with Republicans pointing to the rise in prices as a reason why it's the wrong time for Congress to authorize some $1.75 trillion in new spending. And the Republicans argue that injecting more federal money into the economy will add fuel to the fire, while the White House and some Democrats say that the bill will only reduce the cost of living for many low-income families and ease inflation over the long run. Senator Manchin has also joined Republicans on this. But friends, inflation is, and always been a central component of Manchin's resistance to the broader package of a stimulus. And no number of letters from economists has even stopped him from that, and should start decelerating in the months ahead. According to House officials, it is possible for lawmakers from both parties to come to an agreement on social spending programs. Biden even said, "I'm confident we can get the Build Back Better bill into law." And now everybody, here's the breaking news about the fourth stimulus check of $1,400. Republicans and Democrats have fought hard over the issue of stimulus checks after passing the first